Ethan was used to quiet nights at his research facility. The wind often howled across the remote hills surrounding his lab, and the only sounds were the hum of machines and the occasional rustle of the tall grass outside. He liked it that way. It gave him time to focus on his studies, analyzing human biology and the ways life could adapt on different planets. He never expected his solitude to be interrupted by an alien visitor. It started with a strange shimmer in the corner of his lab. At first, he thought it was a trick of the light, the reflection of his monitors on the metal walls. Then, the shimmer grew brighter, more solid, until a figure stood before him. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. She was unlike anything he had ever seen. Her skin had a soft, iridescent glow, like moonlight on water, and her eyes were larger than any human's, reflecting colors that seemed impossible to describe. She stepped forward with graceful movements that reminded him of a dancer. "Do not be afraid," she said. Her voice was musical, soothing, yet carried a subtle power that made him want to listen carefully. "I am Leora from the planet Eloria. I have come to observe your species." Ethan blinked, trying to process her words. "Observe human species?" he asked cautiously. "You mean scientists, like me?" She shook her head, and a soft light danced along her shoulders. "I am not a scientist in the way you understand. My people have studied life for millennia, but we do not reproduce as you do. That is why I am here." Ethan's mind spun. You want to study human reproduction." His voice was almost a whisper. It was a sensitive topic, and he didn't know whether to be flattered or alarmed. "Yes," Leora said simply. "We have methods for creating life that are precise, controlled, and without emotion. Humans are unique because your species bonds deeply with your offspring. I wish to understand this." Ethan swallowed hard. He had always thought of his research as academic, but having a real alien standing in front of him, curious about the most intimate aspects of humanity, made his heart race. Still, he reminded himself that this was science. He was a scientist. Curiosity had always been the driving force behind his work. "All right," he said finally, straightening his lab coat. "We can start safely. I won't show anything personal, but I can explain, demonstrate, and use simulations." Leora nodded. "This is sufficient." Her gaze was intense, as if she were studying him while he studied her. Ethan began by projecting a holographic display. A three-dimensional human body appeared in the air between them. He used the controls to highlight reproductive organs, explaining their functions carefully. "This is the uterus. This is where a fetus grows. Sperm from a male fertilizes the egg, and after 9 months a human child is born." Leora's eyes widened. Her fingers hovered above the display, almost as if she wanted to touch it. "And the connection," she said softly, "between the parents and the child, emotional. Why is this important?" "It helps humans survive," Ethan replied. "Raising a child is difficult. Emotional attachment encourages care, protection, and teaching. The child learns from the parents, and the parents form bonds that ensure the child thrives." Leora tilted her head. "Fascinating. On Eloria, life is created and released into existence fully formed. There is no need for attachment. The young survive because the system is perfect. Your system is risky, yet your species invests emotion. This is remarkable." Ethan felt a small thrill. He realized she wasn't judging humans as inferior, she was admiring them. "Yes, it's risky," he said, smiling. "But that risk creates connection, love, and learning. Humans are messy, but that mess makes us strong." Leora's gaze softened, and she leaned closer to study the hologram. "Show me more. How does the fetus grow? How does the parent feel during this process?" Ethan guided her through the stages of human development using safe, visual simulations. He explained how cells divided, how organs formed, and how the fetus responded to stimuli. He described the changes in the mother's body, the emotional highs and lows, and the social support humans often relied on. Leora absorbed everything silently. her large eyes flicking over the holographic forms. Your species experiences fear, joy, and anticipation before the birth. This is intriguing. I did not anticipate such complexity in reproduction. Ethan nodded. Yes, and after birth, humans care for years, teaching language, social skills, survival techniques. The process is long, but it ensures the child integrates fully into society. Leora's hands moved over the hologram, tracing the path of growth. I see. We have life, but without guidance, many of our young fail. Humans fail too sometimes, but your species cares. You accept imperfection. They spent hours going through the simulations, and Ethan noticed something surprising. Leora wasn't merely curious. She was trying to understand the human heart, not just biology. She asked questions about parental dilemmas, the difficulties of raising a child in a dangerous world, and even the emotions parents felt when a child was in danger. At one point, she paused, her eyes reflecting the soft lights of the lab. Humans endure so much to bring new life into the world. On Eloria, we remove danger before creation. You face it directly, and yet you continue. Why? Ethan leaned back thinking. Because it's worth it. Love, connection, hope. Humans accept risk for the sake of life and emotion. We're not perfect, but we grow stronger together. That's part of what makes us human. Leora was silent for a moment. Then she said quietly, I did not expect to find bravery in biology, only efficiency. You combine both. Fascinating. After a while, Ethan suggested they take a break. He had noticed Leora's curiosity extending beyond the lab. She wanted to observe more than just simulations. If you want to understand fully, he said, you need to see human families. I can show you virtual recordings, safe and private. Her eyes gleamed. Yes, show me. I wish to learn about interaction, care, and the bonds that form outside biology. Ethan accessed a secure database showing her recordings of families from different cultures. She watched children learning to walk, parents teaching language, families sharing meals, even moments of discipline and comfort. Leora was fascinated by the variety of human expression, the subtle gestures that communicated love, concern, and joy. She tilted her head as a father helped a child climb a tree. Your species teaches courage, empathy, and persistence through care. This is unlike Eloria, where instruction is instantaneous. Your species experiences life to learn life. Ethan chuckled softly. Yes. We live, we fail, we try again. Life isn't perfect, but it's ours. The day wore on and the night outside grew darker. Leora remained engaged, asking questions, noting patterns, and comparing what she saw to her species' methods. At one point, she asked Ethan to demonstrate how humans bond with children physically. He carefully showed safe touch simulations and explained the importance of holding, comforting, and nurturing without exposing personal intimacy. Leora tried to replicate the motions on a holographic model, her movements precise but delicate. I understand the importance of touch. It communicates safety and affection. Your species teaches both through biology and emotion. Remarkable. Ethan found himself smiling. She was learning quickly, but she was also honest and innocent in her curiosity. There was no mockery, no judgment, just an intense desire to understand a way of life entirely foreign to her. Tomorrow, Ethan said finally, we'll go further. I'll show you more about gestation, the stages of pregnancy, and parental roles. It's complex, but it's also beautiful. Are you ready? Leora's gaze held his, shimmering softly in the dim light. I am ready. Your species fascinates me. I wish to see everything. Not just biology, but life itself. Ethan realized that, despite her advanced technology and alien intelligence, Leora was learning in much the same way humans did, through observation, experience, and empathy. He felt a strange pride. Humans had survived countless challenges across millennia, and even an alien species could recognize their strength. The night passed slowly, with Ethan reviewing notes and Leora quietly processing the day's lessons. The air in the lab felt charged with anticipation. Tomorrow, they would delve deeper into the mysteries of human reproduction, exploring not only biology, but also the emotional and social aspects that made humans so resilient. For the first time in his career, Ethan felt that his work was more than science. It was a bridge between worlds, a way to show that humans in all their imperfection were extraordinary. And Leora, with her luminous skin and endless curiosity, was about to see the most remarkable thing of all, humanity in its full, chaotic, beautiful form. As he finally turned off the lights and prepared to rest, Ethan couldn't help but glance at Leora, who remained standing in the center of the lab, her eyes reflecting the dim glow of the monitors. She was silent, contemplative, almost reverent. "I will understand," she whispered softly, though her voice carried across the room. "I will understand humans, their life, their courage, and why it is so precious." Ethan smiled and shook his head. "You have a long way to go, Leora," he thought, "but you'll see. There's more to humans than you can imagine." Outside, the wind howled across the hills, and the stars above twinkled as if watching the unusual pair. One human, one alien, learning from each other. One observing the biology, the other teaching the spirit. And thus, the first day of an extraordinary journey came to an end. A journey that would explore not only reproduction, but the essence of what it meant to be human. The next morning, Ethan woke to the soft hum of the lab systems. Leora was already awake, standing silently by one of the large windows observing the sky. Her eyes reflected the rising sun, and for a moment she seemed almost human, curious, thoughtful, and filled with anticipation. "Good morning," Ethan said, entering the lab with a cup of coffee. "I hope you slept well." She turned toward him, a small smile touching her lips. "I do not require sleep as you do," she said, "but I find observing your morning rituals enlightening." "Tell me, why do humans need sleep?" Ethan set down the coffee and shook his head with a chuckle. "Energy restoration, brain function, memory consolidation. It's complicated, but the main reason is your body and mind need rest. Even humans cannot think clearly without it." Leora's gaze drifted back to the sky. "Fascinating. Life itself depends not only on biology but on rhythms, cycles, timing. Your species adapts to time as well as space." Ethan smiled, impressed by her observation. "Exactly. Humans are not just about survival. We adjust, adapt, and find meaning in our cycles: day, night, growth, learning. That is part of why our reproduction is special." He motioned toward the holographic projector, which flickered to life with detailed simulations of human gestation. Ethan guided Leora through the stages once again, this time including hormonal changes, emotional states, and family support systems. Leora studied every detail, asking questions that revealed both intelligence and genuine curiosity. Why do humans experience fear and joy simultaneously during gestation? Does the child sense these emotions? "Yes," Ethan said. "Children are sensitive even before birth. Emotional states can affect development, bonding, and stress responses. We cannot separate biology from emotion. It all influences the outcome." She paused, her fingers hovering above the hologram. "On Eloria, creation is precise. There is no emotional interference. Life emerges fully formed, predictable, efficient. Humans allow unpredictability, and yet you thrive. How do you manage risk?" Ethan leaned back and laughed softly. "We don't always manage it. Sometimes we fail. But humans are resilient. Our failures teach us. Our successes inspire us. And our bonds, those make the risks worth it." Leora's large eyes glimmered with something he had not seen before, almost awe. "Your species values imperfection. This is extraordinary." To give her a clearer perspective, Ethan suggested they observe real human behavior, but safely and ethically. Using virtual reality and historical records, he allowed Leora to witness moments of childbirth, first steps, first words, and the emotional bonds formed through everyday care. She watched silently at first, absorbing every detail. Her head tilted as she studied the subtle gestures, a mother gently brushing hair from her child's face, a father guiding a toddler's hand while learning to write, siblings comforting each other during a minor injury. This connection, Leora murmured. It is not biological alone. It is emotional, social, cultural. Humans invest in life beyond survival. This is beautiful, Ethan nodded. It is. And it is messy, unpredictable, sometimes heartbreaking. But that mess is what gives humans strength, resilience, and love. Hours passed as they explored families from different continents, different cultures, different ways of raising children. Leora asked about traditions, celebrations, and even mistakes. She was fascinated that humans could learn not only from guidance but from trial and error, while also nurturing a bond that lasted decades. Eventually, Leora spoke, her voice soft but filled with wonder. I understand now. The human method of reproduction is not about efficiency alone. It is about connection, teaching, emotion. Your species sacrifices certainty for experience, risk for love. Ethan smiled. You could say that. We choose to experience life fully, even with the dangers. It's not perfect, but it's ours. Leora's hands hovered over the holographic simulations again. She gently manipulated the models, mimicking human care gestures. I wish to try, not personally, of course, she added quickly, but to replicate actions, simulate nurturing, observe reactions. I want to feel what humans experience in this process. Ethan watched carefully as she interacted with the simulations. Her movements were precise but gentle, almost reverent. You don't need to worry about doing it wrong, he said. The point is to understand. Observing and learning is enough. For the first time, Leora hesitated. I sensed something, a pattern of energy, emotion, and growth. Humans channel affection into biology. On Eloria, we have energy, but it is sterile, detached. This bond is new to me. It is alive. Ethan nodded. Yes, humans live through our bonds. Our children are not just outcomes. They are part of us, part of our legacy, our love, our mistakes. That makes them precious, unpredictable, and extraordinary. The day turned into evening, and Ethan suggested they take a break outside. They walked along the cliffs near the facility, the wind brushing past them, carrying the scent of distant pine and earth. Leora moved gracefully, observing everything. The stars beginning to twinkle, the motion of leaves, the subtle expressions of Ethan as he talked about his family and childhood. Tell me, she said after a while, how do humans endure loss? I have observed grief in your species. It is profound, unlike any data I have studied. Does it not impede reproduction, survival, and learning? Ethan took a deep breath, staring at the horizon. Loss is part of life. We grieve because we care. Sometimes it is unbearable, but it teaches empathy, patience, and courage. Even in grief, humans find reasons to protect life, to love again, and to try again. It is part of our strength. Leora was silent, her large eyes reflecting the fading sunlight. Your species' courage is emotional as well as physical. You endure fear, risk, and pain to bring life and to preserve it. On Eloria, we endure only what is necessary. Humans endure because of love. This is extraordinary. Ethan smiled faintly. Yes, we endure because we care. Because life is more than survival. It is connection. Later, back in the lab, Ethan introduced Leora to safe virtual simulations of child development, where she could guide a child's growth and witness the effect of parental care. She eagerly engaged, adjusting the environment, responding to the child's needs and noting outcomes. It is more complex than I imagined, she said. The child's growth depends not only on biology but on attention, affection, and teaching. The system is messy, yes, but adaptive. Humans embrace uncertainty. Ethan watched her work, amazed. Even an advanced alien species capable of flawless creation could not replicate the depth of human care without understanding emotion. That's the thing, he said. Humans are unpredictable, our mistakes teach us, our love guides us. You cannot separate one from the other. Leora paused, looking thoughtful. I begin to understand. Human reproduction is not merely biological. It is a combination of biology, emotion, social interaction, and teaching. The act of creation is only the beginning. Life continues because of bonds, attention, and love. Ethan nodded. Exactly. That's why humans are remarkable. We survive not because we are perfect, but because we adapt, we care, and we bond. That makes every new life unique, resilient, and extraordinary. As night fell, the lab lights cast a soft glow over the room. Leora stood silently, staring at the holographic child models. I have observed, learned, and simulated. I understand now. Your species is brave, resilient, and beautiful in ways I could not predict. Ethan felt a deep sense of satisfaction. She had learned not only the science but also the essence of humanity, its unpredictability, emotional depth, and commitment to life. I'm glad you understand, he said. Humans are flawed, yes, but that's what makes us strong. Leora turned to him, her expression almost reverent. I will carry this understanding back to my people. Humans are extraordinary. I have learned not only how you reproduce, but why your lives are precious. This knowledge will change the way we see life. Ethan smiled, watching the first stars appear. I hope it does. Humans are worth understanding, worth protecting, and worth learning from. For the first time, Leora laughed softly, a sound like wind chimes. Yes, I have learned much. Your species surprises me. Even after millennia of observing life, I did not expect such depth, such courage, such devotion. Ethan chuckled. Well, you haven't seen everything yet, but you've seen enough to know that humans are more than just biology. We are messy, imperfect, emotional, and unpredictable, and that makes us human. The two of them stood side by side, gazing at the night sky, each reflecting on what they had learned. One had taught, one had observed. Both had grown. Humanity had revealed itself not only through biology but through emotion, bonds, and the courage to endure. When Leora finally prepared to leave, she paused at the edge of the shimmering portal that would take her home. Thank you, Ethan, she said softly. You have given me insight into life that I never imagined. Your species is extraordinary. I will remember this always. Ethan nodded, feeling a mix of pride and melancholy. Take care, Leora. And remember, life is worth experiencing fully, no matter how unpredictable it may be. With a final shimmer, she vanished, leaving the lab quiet once more. Ethan stood alone, looking at the holographic models that now seemed almost alive in the dim glow. He reflected on what had happened. In just 2 days, he had shared the essence of human life, its risks, its love, and its courage with a being from another world. And in turn, he realized that humanity's greatest strength was not its biology, technology, or intelligence. It was the heart. Outside, the wind swept across the hills, carrying the scent of the earth and the sound of the distant stars. Life, in all its messy, beautiful complexity, continued. And somewhere among the stars, Leora carried the story of humanity, ready to share it with a species that would now see humans not just as biological creatures, but as beings capable of love, courage, and resilience. Ethan sat down in his chair, feeling a quiet satisfaction. He had not only taught an alien about human reproduction, he had shown her the spirit of humanity. And he knew that, despite all challenges, humans would continue to endure, to adapt, and to thrive because of the very qualities that made them unique: emotion, connection, and an unwavering will to live fully. He looked at the stars and whispered, "We are messy, we are flawed, we are human, and somehow that is our greatest strength." Outside, the night stretched endlessly, and the stars seemed to shine just a little brighter, as if recognizing the extraordinary journey of two beings from different worlds, connected by curiosity, learning, and the shared wonder of life itself.